Well, thank you, Brittany. Good evening. We begin at 5 with another victim of Portland's gun violence and another family dealing with an immeasurable loss. Police now identifying 39-year-old Jonathan Dunbar as the man who was killed Friday morning just a few blocks from Pioneer Courthouse Square. Dunbar, also the older brother of a basketball player at OSU. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Laurel Porter. Tonight, we're hearing from the victim's family about the tragic death of their loved one. Mike Benner joins us with how they're coping with this. Mike?
And Laurel family is understandably devastated. I spoke to Jonathan Dunbar's daughter as well as his sister, who some of you may know. Her name is Bendu Yaney. She was a standout basketball player at St. Mary's Academy here in Portland before playing collegiately at Indiana, Arizona, and now Oregon State, where Jonathan was going to attend so many games this upcoming season. Bendu was excited about that. She says her brother was too. But sadly, neither of them will experience that as Jonathan becomes another victim of a troubling epidemic here in Portland. You'll find these flowers and candles at a downtown Portland intersection. They're all that's left from a candlelight vigil honoring 39-year-old Jonathan Dunbar.
He was a goofy guy. He was the life of the party and the entertainer. You couldn't go nowhere without a laugh or a smile. You know, when he met somebody, he made him his friend right away.
That's Bendu Yaney, Jonathan's sister, and Jaden Dunbar, Jonathan's daughter. They never could have imagined the man they adore falling victim to Portland's gun violence epidemic. But here they are.
My brother's not here anymore, you know, and I never thought that it would end up hitting our family just because we were always so safe.
That was the case up until Friday, when Jonathan was shot and killed near Southwest 4th and Washington in downtown Portland. Detectives aren't saying much about the case, only that they responded to reports of gunfire just after 2 a.m. and found Jonathan dead. Family believes he had just left a club.
We want to know why. We want to know why it had to be him. We want to know why people are dying from guns.
I just want to find out who did it. That's all I really want out of this. I don't want nothing else. I just want to know who did it.
Family is undoubtedly united in wanting to know who gunned down Jonathan Dunbar, who had so many years of life ahead of him.
He's going to be watching over me, I know that, but I wish he was going to be there in person. But
all right, family has launched a GoFundMe that you'll find a link to on our website, KGW.com. All money raised will go towards Jonathan Dunbar's burial, as well as supporting his teen daughter. In the meantime, this case remains unsolved. Anyone with information should contact the Portland Police Bureau. Back to you.
Mike Benner reporting downtown tonight. Thank you, Mike. Let's take you to Northeast Portland because police are asking for your help solving a suspicious death. Investigators say they found a body Sunday evening near Marine Drive and 2nd Avenue. Details right now scarce, but detectives ask anyone who has information about that case to please contact them.
The SWAT team was called out and people in Portland's Roseway neighborhood were told to stay inside and lock their doors. This happened early Sunday morning. Police ended up arresting a group of kids and teens following some armed robberies. This kind of violent crime involving teenagers seems to be escalating, and our Bryant Clerkley has been following several of these stories. Bryant?
Hey, Laurel, in the past 6 months, there have been at least 4 incidents of violent crimes involving teenagers from Gresham to Portland to Hillsborough, and we're talking robberies, carjackings, shootings, and murder. And this was the scene on Northeast 52nd in Alberta early Sunday morning. Law enforcement officials canvassing the area, searching for a group of juveniles they say robbed several people at gunpoint. Because police believe the kids were armed, people living in the 8-block area were asked to stay inside their homes while the search continued. For neighbors to hear that it's young people involved in violent crimes like this is disturbing.
Well, it's just pretty much out of control. I don't have a solution for it, but I mean, it's rampant, and it seems like maybe the Wild West, like there is no control.
Last week in Hillsborough, one man was shot in the shoulder during a robbery. Several juveniles were arrested. And then back in April, 3 teens were accused of carjacking a man at gunpoint in Portland and leading cops on a chase to Gresham. In that crime, police recovered 4 guns from the stolen car, including an AR-15 rifle and 3 pistols. The Major Crimes Unit responded to the armed robberies in Northeast Portland, and detectives are still investigating. The ages and names of the suspects have not been released yet. David.
And to pick up on the words of that neighbor there, what we do need are solutions here. Thank you, Bryant. Well, dozens of low-income tenants in North Portland gathered today to protest a nearly 50% rent increase, with some saying if this hike goes ahead, they're going to end up on the streets. Our Blair Best is in North Portland this evening. Blair, what are their options right now?
Well, David, they don't have many options right now, which is why many of them are turning to protesting. Now, they're asking the property management company to lower this rent increase to 5%, but they're running out of time. Now, many of these low-income tenants are seeing rent increases between $200 and $400. Many of them could face homelessness because of it. Now, Portland limits rent increases for affordable housing to 5%, but through a program called the Multiple Unit Limited Tax Exemption, buildings less than 15 years old, like the Prescott, are exempt from that limit. The property management company says the increase is justified, in part because the rent here hasn't been raised in several years.
The whole point of building new housing is to try and get people off the streets. So if that new housing to those low-income people is exempt from the rent caps that's supposed to be helping keep people off streets, you've defeated the whole purpose.
I've got a 4-year-old daughter, and I'm in school full-time for psychology, and I don't know how I'm going to cover that.
Now, these tenants have formed a union and are looking to the city for help. Housing Commissioner Dan Ryan says he's working to find a resolution for these tenants. David, Laurel.
Blair Best in North Portland. Let's hope we can find a solution here. Also tonight, more sponsors are reacting to the investigation into the Portland Thorns. Alaska Airlines is now pulling some of its funding. This follows an independent report that found the Thorns interfered with an outside investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct and emotional abuse. Alaska says it will redirect this quarter's funds to both the Thorns and Timbers, to the National Women's Soccer League Players Association, and to youth sports in the Portland area. Now, both teams are owned by Merritt Paulson underneath the same parent company. A separate investigation from the League and Players Association is due out in November.
A local election campaign supporter says he had his personal car stolen while he was out volunteering this weekend. Tim Larson says the theft happened while he was canvassing at the Gresham Farmers Market Saturday. He's a volunteer for Sharon Myron's campaign. She's running for Multnomah County Chair. Larson says he had more than 200 Myron lawn signs in the car at the time. Nothing has been recovered.
It is particularly a difficult loss for me because it was my wife's car, her baby, and now it's gone. So, yeah, that made it real tough.
That is especially tough, and Larson says he thinks the crime could be politically motivated, though he's not sure. He says flyers he'd placed on a nearby car were also gone when he discovered his car stolen. And with the midterm elections less than a month away, candidates are ramping up their efforts, but so are scammers. The Better Business Bureau of Washington says it's seeing an increase in text messages from what appear to be campaigns. They say scammers know how to play on people's emotions when sending out fake polls or donation requests. The goal is to get your passwords, account numbers, social security number, or other data.
And they might try to scam you over the phone by asking you to register to vote, even if you're already registered, donate money over the phone, or answer survey questions that might give them a little too much information about you.
If you want to donate to a candidate, the BBB recommends you go to the official website on your own computer.